Here we go. So my name is Pam Drzwicki, and I'm the owner of Powerful Purpose, and I'm a productivity coach, and I help you get things done. That's basically what I do, either in your life, your business, or your career. Now, today I'm coming to you the Friday after Thanksgiving, and some of you might be out there already in doing Black Friday and doing your shopping. And I've only done that once or twice, I think, in my life. It was pretty exciting, especially if you go with a friend and you go for, breakfast afterwards, and it's a pretty cool experience, and you could get some really awesome deals. But today I wanted to talk about awakening because we're coming up to the new year, and I wanted to have you have the ability to show up in 2020 with more clarity around exactly what you want to get done. Okay, so if we're living in a life, or if you're living in a life that is truly not ideal, there's ways to make changes without having to make all the changes all at once. And I'm just going to give you some tips on that and to see if I can help you live your best life. Okay, so every Friday morning I come to you around 8 o'clock Eastern time, and I give you tips on planning and different areas to help you live your best life. And I also started this because I have a mug collection, and I come to you so I can have my coffee with you while we're sitting and having a conversation. So this morning, my coffee mug is, Powerful Purpose. So when I first released my book, #Nugget, 28 Days to Self-Discovery, back in 2016, I did a Kickstarter. And part of the Kickstarter was that if people donated and helped me get the book launched, they got swag from me, either t-shirts or mugs, all these different things that I came up with. And this is the mug, #Nugget, Powerful Purpose, that was part of that Kickstarter. So that's one of the things I do love. I love absolute swag. I love giving away stickers and pins and pens and all these different things. But that is just part of my, personality style. But today, so that's my mug today. Powerful Purpose. What is the mug that you love to drink out of and have your coffee or your tea in the morning? Now, as I design these videos, I come up with a topic, and the topic is based on what my power word was for the week. My power word this week was awaken. So as I design my week ahead, and even in my planning and coming to you, I design everything around awaken, or whatever that power word was for the week. And I chose awaken because it just reminded me of, I've been talking a lot about authenticity. And when you are awakened, you rise from a slumber, you rise from a sleep. Excuse me. And we could do that same thing in our lives. We could go through the motions in our lives as if we were sleepwalking. And when we're sleepwalking, we are doing things without even knowing that we're doing them. And that's kind of like, when you awake, or when you're living a life in circumstance, or living a life based on what has been created because of the environment around you. Now, we could live in a life that we absolutely and truly love, right? And that's amazing. And sometimes there's going to be things that ebbs and flows inside our lives that we just have to deal with, because that's part of life. But then other times we could be living a life that we're asleep, and we feel like we're sleepwalking through that. And when you're living a life that you're sleepwalking in, you have to awaken yourself very gently from a sleepwalk, right? Because if you wake up too suddenly, it'll startle you, and it's not a good feeling. So it's the same if you're walking through life with these, going through the motions, not even really understanding what is going on around you. So I thought that I could bring to you today some tips of how to help you wake up from a sleepwalking. I used to call it living my life in with rose-colored glasses on. And I used to do that a lot because of the life that was created in my previous life, okay? And it was not just created by the people around me, but it was created by the people I allowed inside my life. And that's what made such a big difference. When I started making changes is when all of a sudden life started to change and life started showing up the way it is today, which is absolutely amazing. And every single day I do something different that will allow me to elevate my life. And that's what I want to share with you. And before we get started, I just want to say, you know, if you're a busy professional, a busy mom, I'm getting a phone call from my dad. So funny. I'll talk to him later, right? So if you are living this life of being extremely busy and you are a high-powered person that wants to show up that you have it all together all the time, but deep down inside you're like, enough is enough, I can't do this anymore, but you're afraid to come out and ask for help because that might seem like a sign of weakness. Take a deep breath. I've been there. I totally understand. I walked around with this badge of honor that I had it all together. And really, I didn't. And every single day, I got up with this mask on that didn't allow me to be or live my ideal life because the mask was on and I refused to take it off. Because if I took it off, it meant to me that maybe I failed. If I took it off, it meant to me that I couldn't do everything. And I couldn't be that person that everybody thought I was. So I was living in this crazy, non-authentic life. And it just zapped me. It zapped my energy. It zapped everything in my life. So are you going through life with just the emotions of what has been created? Or are you truly living your ideal life? Okay. So when we live like this and we live in this world that we've created or our circumstances created and we allowed those circumstances to take over because we were afraid to set the boundaries, right? When you live in that type of life, what happens is that years go by and you look back and you're like, wow, why didn't I see it? Well, when you're in that place, and that could be you're living a life of extreme financial success, but because of the financial success, you have to work so many hours, right? You have to work consistently to keep up that lifestyle. Take a step back. Let's see, is that where you really want to be? So it really comes down to like setting these boundaries around everything. And when you start awakening, you start rising from that sleep that you're in. And it doesn't have to be every piece of your life. But if you start, say it's one thing you spend money before you earn it. And you're constantly feeling that crunch of debt, and it's consuming and it's overwhelming. But you take a step back and you say, I'm working so hard, I don't understand. Well, when you decide to awake from that financial burden and actually get more clear on your finances, it's an awakening. It's one area that you can work on. Or say, and these areas that I'm sharing with you are areas that I have struggled with over my life and continue to struggle with some of them. But the beauty of it is I'm getting this down pat because of all of the work that I'm doing to awaken my brain and awaken my emotions to what I truly want in my life. We have control over that. We have to embrace the things we can control and let go of the things that we can't, right? So, what habits have you created that stops you from succeeding in the best life possible? Succeeding, it stopped you from awakening and saying, wait, hold on, I'm going to take a step back and I'm going to align and wake up from this slumber, this sleep that I'm in, that this is really the real life that I want. Okay? What other ways that you could not sense that you're living in the best life, that you're in a sleep around it? Negative thinking, that's another one, right? Remember, our brain has those two functions: to listen to what we tell it and to take action on it. So if we have negative thinking, it's not allowing us to have expansion thinking, expanding our thinking to be bigger, better, and positive. So if we're asleep around that and we're not awakened by the possibility of positive things, we're going to live in a very tiny bubble, living a small thinking life. Now, that doesn't mean that if we don't have a lot of things in our life, material things, that our life isn't big. But if we make that choice of whatever life we want to live, no matter if it's in a tiny house or a mansion, we've awakened to what we truly want in our lives. Okay? So let's see, what else do we have? I'm going to see here, and I am recording and on Facebook Live, and I'm going to see if some people are around that might be able to join us. I know it's early after a Friday, but I figured I'd give it a whirl and invite a few of our friends on for the ride, right? And see what they think. And there we go. I'm just going to do this and see if, I know it's a rough morning, but one of the things that helps me stay awake to what I really want in my life is consistency. So I am consistent in my business, and I try to be consistent in my life. And when I break down things in tiny little pieces, it's easier for me to own what I want out of my life, right? It's easier for me to own the fact that I would like a certain lifestyle, all right? And I'm not just talking about lifestyle in the sense of financially, but a certain lifestyle of feeling fit, feeling spiritually grounded, absolutely, feeling well rested, feeling energized, and all these different areas that in the past I had not felt, right? That I just lived this total life based on the circumstances that I had created around me. And I was putting out these fires all of the time. So when I started to awaken from my slumber of that particular life, that's when everything started happening. Changes started taking place, and it's been amazing. So far we've talked about how can we change the negative thinking, right? And that our brain has those two functions. And first, if we decide, or if you decide that your life needs to be awakened from negativity, I would suggest to sit and do some gratitude journaling. Some people don't like to journal, and because it sounds so formal, and it doesn't have to be. All you need to do is grab a piece of paper and just write down things that you're thankful for. And if it's just one item, let's just embrace that one item right now, okay? So let's get rid of the negativity. The negativity also could be caused by people that we surround ourselves with. So if we start changing our friends and changing our dream team, then we may start seeing a difference. You may start seeing a difference in your life. Now, you may say, Pam, how do I do that? These are the people I've known my whole life. These are the people that I work with. Well, think of something that might make you happy. Maybe it's going to church or finding a community, or it's a hobby that you love to do and you find a place to do it with. Start infusing your life with people that fill you up. That will be the first step in getting rid of that negativity, in the awakening of the life that you truly want, the life of purpose, right? Maybe I had talked about spending money before you make it. And how many times do we use credit cards? So that's basically, how many times do you use credit cards to purchase things? Maybe start with one item. Maybe say, every paycheck, I'm going to save X amount of dollars to go towards something I really want to buy or something I want in my life. And then every single paycheck, you save that money. And then when you have enough money, you actually go and purchase that item. And it could be as small as $5 a paycheck if you can. But just think of the awakening that you all have, that you waited patiently to get something that you truly wanted. A lot of times when we sleep in a world of slumber and we're not being true to ourselves around things, we buy things because we think it's going to fulfill us. In reality, they're material items. The high goes away so quickly on that. It's like buying a new car. How amazing is that feeling when you have that new car? And then when that first monthly payment comes in, it's like, oh, it's over. So it's the awakening of how we want to feel in all different areas with that purchase or whatever we do. Take time. It's worth you taking time to decide of what that life's going to look like once you awaken from that, or what's your life going to look like if you purchase that in months to come after it. Okay, not the instant gratification. So when we are caught up in buying things before we have the actual money to do that, one way to start is, like I said, save for something or start a budget. Just start with sitting down and writing all of your finances out. Take a look at it. It is an awakening when you take a look at it, okay? So another area is eating. How many times do we just eat out of emotion or don't eat at all because of emotion? So we could awake from eating just to eat or not to eat. Both is really bad. We need to take time to plan for that. So again, we have to awaken from the habit of just doing and figure out why we're doing what we're doing. So about 1.5 years ago, I started awakening around my health and my fitness. And I hired a personal trainer that I work out with a couple of times a week. I try to get my walks in between. I went to a nutritionist chiropractor that put me on a program. And because I started being aware and I awakened, that's easier for things started changing. My body started changing. My energy started changing. People started noticing. My clothes started fitting better. I was able to buy smaller clothes and actually walk in the store and feel comfortable with trying it on. What else changed? Oh, my experience on a plane changed. All of that because I started taking control of what I was doing with my body. The awakening around that was amazing. Now, was there things that I had to stop doing that wasn't healthy for me that I absolutely loved? Absolutely. But once I started realizing and recognizing why I was doing the things I was doing, why I was eating the way I was eating, why I was not having any movement, and what it was doing to my body and what it could ultimately do to my body in the long run. And how would my life be if I continued like that versus how it's going to be continuing like this. So that was another area. So do you have an area in your health that you need to look at? Take one thing. Take one thing and start making a change to it. So saying yes is another way that we live in this life, or we create this life of circumstance. And when we start saying no when we need to say no and start setting our boundaries, we awake from our sleep around being that yes person. Or maybe it's the opposite. You say no all the time because you're fearful, or because you don't want to say yes. Two things. Sit down, think about that. How are you going to switch that up to make it the best life possible? Now remember, if you're a busy professional woman, own your own business, have a booming career, or stay-at-home mom that's really busy, and you look like you have it all together from the outside, it's okay to find somebody that you could talk to around how you could start making these changes. Because sometimes when you're too close to it, you're not able to make a change. You can't see it. That's the work that I love to do. Being a productivity coach allows me to help you do things like that, okay? So keep that in mind, because it doesn't have to be a badge of honor that you're wearing, that you're getting all this stuff together and getting this all done, and you're just living your life on a hamster wheel or like a robot, because you have to get up. It's time to get up, and we have to keep on moving, right? And keep on doing things. And if we stop, then we failed. And that's not the case. I just want you to know that really is not the case. So learning how to say no, setting those boundaries, learning how to say yes so you could experience the things that you do want to experience, releasing that fear around saying yes, engaging in saying no to the things you don't want to, okay? So that's another way that you could awaken such a beautiful life. Okay, the other thing is I talked a little bit about this, was the circumstances. Creating this life and surrounding yourself with the wrong people. And just because you started something doesn't mean you need to finish it. I know we're taught that if we start something, we need to finish it. And if we don't finish it, then we failed. But that's not the case all the time. If you start something and it doesn't feel right to you, you have the right to step back and think to yourself, wait a minute, this isn't what I thought it was going to be. Let me take a look at what I might be able to change to make the circumstance better. And it doesn't mean that you're leaving the circumstance, or it may mean you have to leave the circumstance. What it does mean, it's giving you the opportunity to awake from that slumber because you were tired and you made that commitment. Awake. Don't sleepwalk through life, okay? So the ways that we could do this is to create a way to awaken, change what you want. Because remember, we could control what we could control, and we could not control the things we can't control. The first thing I'd love for you to do is take these categories, and they're on my roadmap to sanity, which is out on my website at powerful-purpose.com. Under resources, go to roadmap to sanity, and you can download this. I want you to take that roadmap to sanity, and the categories that are on that map is family, personal, spiritual, physical, business or career, savings, give back, and income. Take that sheet and write the one thing in each category that you want to work on to awaken from the slumber of your life. And in the middle, put that power word that's going to truly ground you through it, okay? And power words are words that are just, I have myself and my clients do them every week. And they're just words that ground you. Like this week, my word was awake. That's what it was, okay? So just go out to the website and download that. because I'm going to have you take this first small step of taking that roadmap to sanity and write one thing in each category that you feel that really sit and meditate and think about this, that you feel will help you get closer to your ideal life. Small, consistent steps truly makes a difference. Like I said, that I started eating and moving and healthy. So over the past, I don't know, year and a half, I've lost 37 pounds and 27 inches. That was the last number since I got measured a few months back. I know it's probably more at this point. I could feel it. It feels amazing. It feels amazing. So that was the physical part that I wanted to work on. Spiritual part, I wanted to make sure that I was grounded and I was reading my Bible every day and doing the meditation and the prayer work, doing the rosary of what I really needed to fulfill me spiritually, okay? So these are the one things that are going to help elevate your life to a different place. Mark Twain, I have this on my desk. Mark Twain says, don't dream your life, live your dream. That's what he says. I have this actually amazing paperweight here that when I left my career of 28 years in the insurance industry to start Powerful Purpose, that was a gift that one of the women at the office gave me. It was so awesome. It was just truly awesome. So what are you going to do? What are you going to do to take charge of this? Now, if this seems like it's too much, like I said, I just want you to take one area, just one area, and focus on that. Maybe it's getting up earlier. Maybe if you got up a little bit earlier, you'd be able to have some more time for yourself. But you can't even think of getting up earlier than 6 o'clock. Set your alarm for 5 minutes earlier the next day. Because I'm telling you, when you ground yourself with your time in the morning and you ground yourself with your being of who you are and your higher power and your God to connect with, it makes all the difference in the world. It really, really does. So when it is, I just want you to know, I'm just making sure I didn't forget anything because I just truly love this topic. And this topic comes from my very first nugget. Live your life in your purpose and not driven by your circumstances. That was the very first nugget of the day that I wrote back in June of 2015. That's what I put in place to start this journey of Powerful Purpose. And I'm so honored that you come and you watch my videos and you interact on my posts. And if you would like to get actual nuggets on Tuesdays and Thursdays and an amazing blog on Sundays, please feel free to go out to my website and register for that. Be part of the community. There's so much that is being is going on, and that's going to be going on in 2020. Have an amazing, amazing dynamite weekend. And until next time, take care and make sure, don't go sleepwalking through your life. Have an amazing life. God bless. Thank you.